Hello, hello, wonderful people of Rando. Welcome to another game on the SGL tournament. This is the first round of the top 32 bracket. Today we've got P-Train versus Andy, two people who need no introduction to the Randomizer community. My name is Lucian Greeth. I am going to be your sole commentator tonight. I'm joined here by my tracker slash co-commentator, Lady Laura Linda. I apologize. And tonight we're going to be doing the typical SGL item pool. There'll be 3 swords. All 4 swords are in the pool. The fourth one will be removed once 3 swords are picked up. Same goes for the armor. Once you pick up the blue mail, the red one turns into a pickup. There are only 2 bottles in the world. Both are empty. So once you find those first 2 bottles, the rest are gone. And lastly, half magic is gone. So there's no half magic safety in this world. It looks like we'll be starting here in just a second. And as always, we'll be doing this typical standard opening. Just going straight through Hyrule Castle, rescue Zelda, and escape through Sanctuary. We'll be starting with the casual boots setup, starting with boots and a sword, which takes away a little bit of the tension in the back of escape. You don't need to fish for bombs. Andy gets a map check. Looks like blue crystal at Eastern, red crystal in Hera. I didn't quite catch what was on Desert. I think it was a pendant. And a very nice opening with hookshot at Uncle and a cape at Link's house.
Really big issues with the tracker, so I need everyone to be patient with me.
Not a problem. I'm here to give the play-by-play. And also bear with me tonight. No other commentators. And both players are just making their way through the escape, as we've done several times by now. P-Train once again using a sprite that he made that will never cease to disturb me. P-Train's having a bit of a laugh himself. A little bit of hookshot mishaps. Alright, getting ready to make our way to the back of Escape. We'll see what we got at Dark Cross in the back. P-Trains are a little low on health coming on the back of Escape. Shouldn't be a problem, but always slightly uncomfortable. And it looks like we got the Bombos medallion in the back of Escape. Not sure if that's going to be important yet. We'll have to wait to see what Turtle Rock and or Mizumire have for us to know if that's important. But at the very least, failing anything else, it should act as a key to Ice Palace to get past the Freezors. It looks like Andy's maybe a split second ahead or two coming out of Escape. Now, early hookshot means we're going to see a lot of hook speed dashes. Alright, looks like Andy's foregoing the lumberjack check for now. We'll see if they circle back around to that later. P-Train, however, is going for that lumberjack. And nothing but a red rupee on lumberjack ledge, so it's not. We don't know if it's an Agaseed yet, but nothing on lumberjack ledge takes a lot of guesswork out. Also, we find a book in the thieves' hideout drop down, so that'll open up desert. Yeah, Andy's putting that book to early use. You're right in the neighborhood. Check that pedestal. Just some rupees, nothing major. Yep, for those tuning in, the pedestal is just rupees, so we will not be seeing a pedestal today. Looks like Andy's opting to go to South Shore instead of Kakariko, so we'll see what Dam and possibly Mini Moldrum have in store. We'll see where he goes from Dam. And P-Train's taking the more standard approach, going straight to Kakariko from Lost Woods, so already a bit of a divergence early on in the game. Alright, looks like Mini Moldrum Cave is dry. Nothing of note. The last thing I forgot to mention about the item pool for this SGL hard mode, heart containers have largely been removed. There are only 3 heart containers in the world. The rest is just 32 heart pieces, so you're going to see a much more gradual increase in hearts over the course of the seed. P-Train's decision to go do Kakariko right away pays off with the flippers and the Master Sword.
And a bottle.
And the bottle. Did I say flippers?
Yes.
I probably didn't mean to say that.
No, flippers were there.
Okay. Try to watch 2 screens at once. Thank you. Alright, P-Train finds his one and only shield on the bottle vendor. So, the toy shield, which offers a little protection, it's found. Looks like Andy's going to water walk his way up to Zora, which makes sense. He's got the money for it. Why not? Andy finds the Quake medallion in the Waterfall Fairy, so again, we don't know if that's important yet, but having 2 out of 3 medallions early on definitely helps. It looks like we got the hammer on Race Game, which is, of course, a vital item, so definitely going to go around for that. To answer the question in chat, the history for these 2 racers up till now, Andy beat Keide Rukawa and Nux, but then lost to Cool Papa Bell in the 3rd round. Then went on to beat Ase 101 and Ninban in the losers bracket. P-Train lost to Marith in the 1st round, but then went on to win against Slumberjack, Illis, Imosaru, and Zelga Desan. So both these players have had a very challenging trip to this point, and of course, at top 32, only the best of the best make it. Alright, P-Train's following in Andy's footsteps here, making his South Shore checks. Like, you're going to wrap in Zora and Waterfall with that. And Zora has our 3rd sword, so when Andy makes his way to Kakariko, he will pick up that Tempered Sword. And likewise, if and when P-Train heads up to Zora, he will get his Tempered Sword as well. So some nice early offense for both these players early on in the game. Alright, Andy's gonna put the shovel to use for nothing. Alright, Andy's gonna go and find his hammer. And it looks like P-Train's going to be making the same checks as Andy. Going to water walk up to Hobo and most likely to Zora after this. Alright, Andy makes his way to Kakariko. He'll be finding a handful of goodies here, including his Tempered Sword, flippers, and the bottle. I think both players are going to find their tempered sword right around the same time. P-Train does have the advantage, although it's just a B. P-Train did have the advantage of bringing a bottle in here. Could have paid off pretty well with a potion of some sort. Unfortunately, just a B. Okay, P-Train's got his tempered sword. Andy will be finding his in just a moment here in Blind's basement. Then from here, looks like P-Train's heading south, possibly putting that book to use and getting an early start on Desert. Oh no, he hasn't checked the dam yet. Alright, so it's pretty much dead even. The only check Andy's made that P-Train has at this point is the shovel spots. Looks like P-Train's going to make his way over to the desert area. And good bit of divergence here. Looks like Andy's going to head over to Saha's and Eastern Palace, while P-Train makes his way over to Desert, which is sometimes you follow the items you get. You pick up a book early, don't have a whole lot of options. Heading to Desert is a perfectly good choice.
Andy picked up the flute.
Okay, flute's nice. I didn't catch that flute. Where was the flute?
In Saha's closet.
Right. Okay, so yeah, that was a good pickup for Andy. And depending on what happens in Desert, P-Train can be making his way over there next. There's nothing of note here in Desert. Eastern's be pretty much the only major play left to make. Yep, and Andy is also making his way to Eastern, or Desert, my bad. Okay, first item in Desert Palace is just 50 rupees, so we have one more item to collect in Desert. Could be behind the Power Glove. No, we have not seen the mountain yet. Andy has his flute. P-Train does not, so we do have logical access to the mountain, which... Let's see if Andy has that way. And just an ice rod for the second item. So nothing that helps P-Train's immediate situation, so he'll likely be heading over to Saha's as well. Although it looks like he's going to check that dig spot first. Which sometimes you get a fetch quest item early, you tend to follow it. Looks like we are having some technical difficulties. Okay, looks like, yeah, we're just having some slight difficulties here. We can be back on in just a second. So whatever's in those first two chests in Paradox Cave, I do not know. Feel free to help me out if anyone knows. And Andy gets his blue mail. So never mind, we got the two items. There's blue mail in the bottom chest. I thought I gotta turn around. And silver arrows. The other one of the major wrinkles I forgot to mention for the SGL mode, bows are non-progressive, so you can find the silvers before the bow. All they are is a piece of decoration at the moment for Andy. Night P-Train's making his way up the mountain, while Andy looks to be heading over to Hera. Not a whole lot of checks left before this could be an Agaseed. Hera has two items and the Ether Tablet here, and then Spiral Cave as well. So we'll see where this goes. I would imagine Andy would probably end this route in Spiral Cave after Hera, if that's how it plays out. And looks like Andy's gonna Hera pot his way up to the top of Hera. Still haven't found any items yet, so still two items to find. Okay, there's one item. Small key, though, so that does open up the possibility of the basement, but with no fire source. If Moldworm does not have an item, we will be leaving one item behind here at Hera. And Moldworm does not have an item, so we are leaving one item behind in the basement of Hera for the time being. Meanwhile, P-Train picks up his silver arrows over in Paradox Cave, opting to go for the more traditional bomb jump as opposed to Andy's hover. And I'm not sure there's a whole lot left to check before we make a trip to Aga. The lamp, Eastern Palace, I guess, is still hasn't been checked by either player. But there are the power gloves for Andy, which will open up a few things for him. Still no Dark World access. We're still looking for that Moon Pearl, so we're not a whole lot left to see if this could be an Agaseed. Andy heading to Desert Palace can be finding his Ice Rod. And besides that, nothing else, just a few rupees. And depending on how, if Turtle Rock is a crystal, I can't imagine coming to Desert Pendant Desert is a lot of people's first choice. So having the Ice Rod here early does take a lot of that guesswork out of it. Unfortunately, skipping Hera Basement was an inevitability. There's no fire source to get that item. Alright, looks like Andy's not going to finish his route to Landmolaz, figuring there's no items back there, so save that for potential Meyer tie-in. Yeah, from here, all I can really think of that's left would be the Eastern Palace. Worst case scenario, it has the lamp, but no pearl, which would mean this will be an Agassi. If you find that pearl, you would have Dark World access through places such as Eastern Palace, Swamp, and Kakariko. And there's the pearl, so we have Dark World access now. Looks like Andy's going to stay the course, clear out a little more Eastern before going to Dark World access. So, no Aga today. No Aga, no Ped. Nice and clean. Yeah, Andy's not a huge fan of that Moon Pearl placement. Who can blame him? Yeah, and both players opting to continue through Eastern. It's a pretty quick dungeon. Clearing it out for items is not a huge time investment to double dip. Looks like we're having some more technical difficulties. Pardon us while we get that fixed. Okay, and that's our third item in Eastern. So now we're going to go tackle the Dark World. From where? Looks like P-Train is opting to go through the swamp. So start off with the Hype Cave and South Dark World checks. Pretty standard opening route through Dark World. Oh, looks like Andy is already in Dark World. Didn't get a Hype Cave on his side, but we'll see. And the Titan Mitts on Hype Cave. So, Hype Cave delivers. Yeah, who could predict the Hype Cave being hype? Alright, let's see, we got Pendant, Pod, and Turtle Rock. I did not catch where that other second red crystal was. And of course, now that we know that Trinex is a pendant, it always puts on your curiosity. Whenever the game throws out Ice Rod early in the open, makes you wonder if it's sending you some signals. But we won't have to worry about that for a while. Not without the Fire Rod and Can Samaria. Mizumire is the other 5/6 crystal. Thank you very much, Thelany. Looks like P-Train's going to do an early turn-in of the Blacksmith. Alright, and he's making his way into Thieves Town. Oh, we got a cane, but not the cane we need. So we'll see if that comes into play later. And we got the Magic Powder as well, so that will open up the Bat check if Andy chooses to do the Smith chain. Alright, save and quit from P-Train, most likely heading and turning that Blacksmith, and we'll see what he has. Looks like P-Train's going to give us a look at King's Tomb first, before turning that Blacksmith. Alright, nothing but a piece of heart. So, good call by Dan H in the chat. Smith had a piece of heart. Yeah, welcome back, Dan H. You earned it. You called it. Couple of them so far in Thieves Town, but nothing integral. Just a blue cane and magic powder. Powder could turn into something down the line. We'll see. So we'll see if Andy opts to do that Smith chain coming out of Thieves Town. If not, that'll be a little bit of time lost for P-Train. And a beautifully run blind script by Andy. No doubt has fought this boss hundreds of times at this point. Probably do with his eyes closed. That's crystal number 2 for Andy at 34 minutes in. We'll see where he goes from here. Smith Chain's available, and Skull Woods is not clearable, but it is checkable. Meanwhile, P-Train makes his way through Thieves Town. Won't find much of anything item-wise. Okay, looks like Andy is opting to do that Smith Chain. So, he'll be able to check that Magic Bats that P-Train wasn't able to check on the way. Okay, so Andy's likely to make that Magic Bat check after this. This is a check P-Train hasn't done, so this will be some new information. And nothing but another piece of heart. You got me saying it now. Looks like Andy's making another trip up Death Mountain, possibly heading to Dark Death Mountain. So Andy's gonna go ahead and check out Super Bunny Cave, Hookshot Cave, and probably scout the medallion we need for Turok. And P-Train also runs a beautifully run blind script. Again, both of these players combined, blind has to have been killed hundreds and hundreds of times by now, so nothing doing. And we're just having a clearance sale on Pieces of Heart. I think that's 4 straight now for Andy. So we have it's the Quake Medallion for Turok. So we do have our Turok access and our Ice Rod. Unfortunately, we're not on the King of Samaria yet, or the Fire Rod. Okay, nothing but a piece of heart on Bumper Ledge as well, so just airing out all those pieces of heart all of a sudden. Alright, this will be our final check of the mountain. Still no fire source, so Hera Basement is still locked. And another piece of heart for P-Train, so pieces of heart everywhere. So Andy's stocking up on potions. This might be a trip to Ice Palace then. which is clearable, though slightly more cumbersome than usual without the Canis Maria. So we're going to see is a good old-fashioned Ice Palace bomb jump. Don't see many of those nowadays, but still a good game knowledge to have. Yeah, it looks like P-Train's making the same move as Andy, taking those Titan mids up to Death Mountain, where he will unfortunately find nothing. So, route-wise, these two have followed the exact same route the entire game up to now. And there's our second bottle of the game, so that will be the last bottle we see for Andy. I'm sure P-Train will be finding it soon enough. That is true. I forgot to take into account that Andy knows how to hover. Who knew? And still nothing for Andy. Alright, looks like P-Train's finishing up his route at Spike Cave. Unfortunately, he's not going to find anything there. And I'm guessing Andy's counting his items, so I felt comfortable skipping that check. Probably has either a key or a map or compass.
We found a bottle and 2 rupees, or 2 sets of rupees, so...
I forgot about the bottle. Yep, thank you. Yep, so nothing but a bottle in Ice Palace, which, while nice to have, doesn't solve any immediate problems. And once again, P-Train is right on Andy's tail. Now he's fleeing away. Okay, let's see. P-Train is opting to go to the Meyer area. So a little bit of diversion. Looks like he was set to go the same route as Andy, but chose to go Meyer instead. I believe that was Bombos on Meyer, if I saw it right. And the mirror. So P-Train gets the mirror a bit ahead of Andy. We'll see if Andy goes to Meyer next. But that mirror could open up a few extra checks for P-Train. Yeah, honestly, being in the neighborhood, Swamp Palace would be a good check to make right now. Be full cleared. Yeah, I mean, Andy is right on P-Train's trail on that mirror, so he'll be getting that in just a second. Alright, Andy gets his mirror. We'll see if he takes the same direction as P-Train to Swamp Palace. Yep, Andy's going to put that mirror to use and head into Swamp Palace as well. So right now, as it stands, Andy is about an Ice Palace run ahead of P-Train. However, since Ice Palace is empty, if P-Train finds the cane, he'll be able to have a quicker run through Ice Palace than Andy did, who did not have the cane in Samaria. So that could be some potential time save for P-Train, if it comes to that. Now we'll see if P-Train opts to go to the back of the swamp first. I imagine we haven't seen a compass or map yet, so my guess be, yep, he's going to the back of swamp first, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we do have at least one item on left side swamp. We'll see if P-Train opts to circle back around for that. And P-Train's getting harassed by whatever those things are. I have no idea what they're called. Alright, so if Arcus has an item, that means at least one item on left side swamp. He just needs to be a little careful here. But the hard part's over. Alright, so we do have one confirmed item on left side, so we'll see if P-Train chooses to orphan that or come right back to it. Yeah, and P-Train's not leaving that to chance, so he'll open that big chest and get his one item on left side. Alright, looks like Andy had a bit of a cleaner fight against Argus than P-Train. Saves a few seconds there. Okay, looks like we are going to orphan that left side swamp check, so there is one item on left side swamp. So we'll see if Andy's going back in as well. We'll see if he makes the same move to orphan left side or if he's going to fall through. And the fire rod on the bombmost tablet, so that opens up a few options. Alright, so Andy is following through on the Swamp Palace play, so we will see. If there's nothing here, this is going to be a good bit of time pickup for P-Train. Meanwhile, P-Train is just going to take that fire rod he just found, put it to use right away, and clear out Skullwoods. So this will be a very big moment here. If Andy finds progression, any kind of progression on left side swamp, that is going to be a huge swing in his favor. Alright, first item of Skullwoods is just 10 arrows, so one item left, plus Mothula. And the Ether Medallion, which I don't believe was needed for Turok, so that is a good chunk of time pickup for P-Train. So, Andy made the throw check. Nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, just did not have what he needed. And another 10 arrows, so 20 combined arrows in Skullwoods is all it has to offer. Now from here, I would... Ice Pal is the only clearable dungeon... Well, pod, but it's not fully clearable without that bow. But it does have a good chunk of items. But P-Train is going with the dungeon, the Crystal Dungeon as clearable, which is a good check. Meanwhile, Andy's starting from the front, working his way back to Skullwood, so that will also cost him a bit of time. Yes, Riceball Gaming, Ped was checked, it is just Couch Cash. There was a very early book in Lost Woods, both players checked it. Doesn't quite make up for what the Kansamari would offer, but having the Fire Rod does speed up the Ice Pal's run just a little bit, without having to wait to sit through those, was it 3 boneless animations? 2 for Freeze Ores, 1 for Cold Stare. So it'll speed up just a little bit. So, Andy's being a bit more thorough than P-Train. Unfortunately, it is not paying off very much. And meanwhile, P-Train gives us the good old-fashioned Ice Palace Bomb Jump. Not something you see much anymore. Yes, there's also the horrible chance that progression could be in Hera Basement now that we got our Fire Rod. Could be. Although if Hera Basement does have progression, then I doubt either player would come back to it for a while. So let's see where Andy goes next. Looks like Andy's gonna dip Meyer without the cane, so we'll see if this plays out. It's a bold move, so if we get a vanilla or French vanilla cane, that will be a big point to Andy. Meanwhile, it looks like Peach will be making his way to Cold Stare. Think about it, even if Meyer doesn't have the cane and has some other form of progression, yeah, double dipping Meyer isn't fun, but having a progression in a caneless Meyer, definitely not an intuitive play. It's something that P-Train could put off for a little while. Yeah, under better circumstances, this would be a God Meyer. Unfortunately, no cane. And P-Train just shredding Cold Stare apart. Nice little bit of rail clipping from Andy there. And so right now, that Case Mario has proven to be a thorn in both players' side. At this point, I wonder if you would go to Pod. So we lost P-Train's stream. We'll likely have that back up in just a moment. At this point, there's not much left in terms of density checks besides Pod, so it feels like the logical next move. But P-Train's also gone from wide. We just got his feed back up. So, unfortunately, P-Train, well, we don't know that yet. 1 second. Unfortunately, P-Train will not be finding anything in Mire. So, nothing there now. I'm guessing Desert was the green crystal then, if Andy's making the Desert play, despite having found both items.
Too, but that would be my guess.
Which, if it is Green Pendant, then definitely makes sense. You're right there, walking the Lambo from back to Desert's not a super fast trip. Fire Rod, be nice and easy. And the zero cycle Lambo from Andy with no silver arrows, which is very impressive. And of course, we're heading down for some aggression. There's always possibility it's up in Hare Basement, which was orphaned early on in the game. But it looks like Andy's making the pod play, so he's going to turn in that green pendant on the way to pod, which is a nice bit of routing. Good heads up play. Unfortunately, the green pendant was just a piece of heart, so it was a good idea. Unfortunately, it just did not pay anything. While we've got a small break, make sure to follow both our racers. They need no introduction, but feel free to follow them if you're not already. Also, take the time to follow my tracker / co-commentator, Lady Laura Linda, helping keep me honest, and also myself as well. Yeah, looks like P-Train's got the same idea to loop in Lambo, which means he's likely hitting the pod next. And Andy breaking out the fancy hover strats to the arena ledge. Close, but not quite. Let's see if we can give another try. And he gets on the third try. Some beautiful hovering by Andy. I don't know much about hovering, and there is the Cane of Samaria. I don't know much about hovering, but from what I've heard, that is one of the tougher ones to pull off. P-Train also rips Lambo apart, so easy fight for both of them. No silvers, no problem. And they're Bo in big chest leading to Canis Maria on the arena ledge. That is, or the compass chest. That is great. So once again, as we all know, Pendant Pod was the key to success. And that should be go mode for Andy. No lantern, but I doubt Andy cares about the lantern. We'll see the route that P-Train takes through Swamp. No doubt Andy saved a good chunk of time by hovering over to that arena ledge. Zithral, Bo was on Pod Big Chest, which ordinarily would have logically locked the Canis Maria, but Andy went and hovered over to that first. Alright, P-Train's also breaking out the hover, so let's see if he gets on his first try. Unfortunately, does not. Andy's going to just clear right through Meyer. Unfortunately, P-Train does not get the hover. Is going to bail on that, so unfortunately, that's going to cost him some time. Now, at this point, the advantage is pretty clear with Andy, but hey, it's Randomizer. Anything can happen. Who knows?
That's how hard that hover is.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That just shows how hard that hover is.
Oh yeah, I don't know much about hovering, but from what I know, that is one of the tough ones. And P-Train pulls off the Mimic Clip instead, so some top speedrunning strats from both players, finding the Canis Maria in their own way. Oh, but unfortunately P-Train bails on Pod, is not going to get his bow. So that is not good. Meanwhile, Andy does Spooky in the dark. Yeah, so P-Train will get his Misery Miter Crystal, but unfortunately, that bow is on the Pendant Pod Big Chest. So we'll see if and when he comes back to that. Alright, that is the 7th crystal, so go ahead, Andy's going to be climbing the mountain. Go ahead and get your guesses in the chat for the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower basement. One has the big key. Get your guesses in. I'm gonna have to keep track because I usually rely on other people for that. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, unfortunately, that bow and pod is the dagger. For the record, I root for Chaos. I always root for 22 against our big key guessing game. Unless I'm the one running it, of course, then I hope for nothing but the best. Alright, P-Train is going to fight Cold Stare, but after this, it's anyone's guess where he ends up going. Without that bow, he cannot finish Eastern Palace. Unfortunately, he has to do Vitreous the hard way. Relatively speaking. Alright, whoever guessed 2, let me go back and check. Alright, Tito, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, you were the first one to guess 2, so congratulations. You guessed it. So we'll see where P-Train goes from here. If he goes back to Pod, if he goes... rechecks Hera. Or he might be going back for that Swamp Palace left side chest he skipped. All good options, each one equally as likely, theoretically, to have his missing item. Oh, I forgot. Since Mr. Meyer was the second red crystal, P-Train can't check Pyramid. Meanwhile, Andy just cleaves through the gauntlet. Will be making his way up to the upper section of Ganon's tower. Did P-Train leave his red bomb behind?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to it.
Huh. Well, that's, unfortunate. Yeah, and for people who are just tuning in, it looks like a Graveyard Ledge would have been a sword or an armor pickup or a bottle. For those who are just tuning in, both players followed each other's route for, I'd say, approximately 3/4 of the seed. So, just a little cleaner execution, and finding that bow in Pod was the game-sealing play for Andy. Alright, so Andy will be making his way to everyone's favorite trigonometry wizard, Aghanim. Or I guess more geometry, trigonometry, one of the two. There's the lamp. So that'll make Eastern Palace easier. Fortunately, just 2 singles in a row for Andy's Aga 2. But it follows up with a triple. And Aga is down, so now all we got left to do is to fight Ganon, the big pig himself. As we close in here at the end, thanks for joining us tonight. Solo commentary is always fun. Luckily, I had Lady Laura Linda here to help me out. One last time, feel free to follow both our racers, follow my tracker, and myself. Some nice poke dashes from Andy. Just gotta be a little careful here to finish out phase 2. Alright, looks like P-Train is making his way back to Pod, so he will find his bow. Unfortunately, just a bit too late. And the pig is roasted. Get your GGs in the chat for Andy, who wins the first round of the top 32 brackets. All he has to do is cross the 1x3 bridge, and he will have a game on 1. Alright, and with official race time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 36 seconds, Andy takes the round. Or race. Get your GGs in the chat. Looks like P-Train is forfeiting, unfortunately. Get your GGs for P-Train as well. And we'll see if we have them in for an interview here soon. Alright, we're joined by P-Train. GG P-Train.
GG's.
Still no word from Andy. I'm not sure he'll be joining us, but what'd you think of that seed, P-Train?
I'm surprised it was as close as it was. For the majority of the seed, I would say around the... So I did Mirrorless Smiths. That felt bad. And then I did something else. I don't know. Smiths felt really bad, and the Mountain felt really bad. And at that point, I felt like catastrophically behind. So I felt like I needed something to bring me back into the race, and I felt like I got that thing.
Yeah, for I'd say roughly 3/4 of that game, you two are right on each other's heels, doing a couple things in different order, but otherwise making the same exact routes. We're also joined here by Andy. GG, Andy.
GG's, man.
GG.
What'd you think of that seed?
Oh, it was dumb.
Yeah, that
Like,
sorry, go ahead.
Everything, all the bad decisions had like Eastern had Pearl in the first chest, and you're just like, ugh. I think I was shaking my head the entire rest of that Eastern did super early. But yeah, it was just kind of just felt really slow. Like it was a 117, but it just felt like a slog the whole way through.
Yeah, I had done. I'd said this earlier, but I did Mirrorless Smiths, and then after Mirrorless Smiths didn't pan out, I went up to the mountain, to Dark Death Mountain. That had absolutely nothing. So at that point, like I felt catastrophically behind, and I kept trying to find something to bring me back. Ice Palace didn't have anything in it. Go to Meyer. Meyer doesn't have anything in it. I also orphaned the cutscene chest, which I went back for. So that felt horrible. Left side, I skipped left side swamp. That was something that kind of brought me back, but I don't know. All of that led up to Meyer, to Pod. I mean, all that led up to Pod because I was like, all right, if I find Kane in Pod, 100% we're going to bail. And I just had that mindset going into Pod, and it didn't even click when I opened up Kane of Samaria on the bow locked side of Pod, now being a bow from Go mode, that maybe we shouldn't immediately chase the Kane. Maybe we should kind of evaluate ourselves a little bit. And I left Pod at that point, just trying to bring myself back into the game, not realizing where the Kane was. And so that's what happened there.
Yeah, nice bit of hover strats gets that bow locked side too. That was so I'm still relatively new to this, so watching like a hover like that, it's always cool to watch. But like I was telling P-Train though, I mean you two are pretty much following the exact same routes for roughly 3/4 of that seed, going up that Dark Death Mountain. There's a couple things were out of order, but otherwise the same exact route for most of the game.
Andy, did you last locate? Did you last locate Eastern, or did you go there right after finding the flute?
No, I last located it.
Okay, yeah, same.
I did. I've been doing a lot of like do escape, do bonk rocks into Lost Woods, and saving and quitting to do South Shore before CAC lately. Which this time ended up being checking pedestal and saving and quitting to go to South Shore. But so I did CAC, and then it was like, well, I can't do anything else. It's either go to desert with just a book, or go to Eastern area, and I got the flute and just immediately did that to Death Mountain instead.
Yeah, I tried to put off the desert area. So when I did South Shore, I went straight to like Mini Moldorm, Ice Rod Cave, and Zora and all that. Then I did Dam to desert, but that really didn't matter this seed. Hoping to find, a glove or a fire source. Neither of which were easy to find. Fire was really rough this seed.
Yeah. That's why, like, I was gonna dip Mire early, and I was like, there's like 0 point in dipping Mire without a fire source. But then once I got Fire Rod, I was like, I'm just gonna full clear Skull Woods, ignore North Dark World some more, and go to Mire for the big play, because the whole seed just felt super gross. So I was like, I just need to make a play at some point.
I put off the Mire shed, trying to wait for that fire source, because I planned on dipping Mire if I ever went to the area, because again I felt behind. But I was going to ice, and then last minute I was like, well, let me check Mire shed just in case it has the cane. And then I found the mirror, so that instantly like put me on the swamp. But I almost got that mirror way later than I did.
Yeah, see, I did that, except I didn't be like, yeah, let me go to Mire area first. I did Ice Palace, and then I did Mire area.
But yeah, GG's. It was a fun tournament. I'm glad I got knocked out by you. So it's actually the first time I think I've ever raced you one-on-one. I think we've been in a lot of qualifiers and group races, but I don't think I've ever had you one-on-one. So this was fun. I'm glad it was close until it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've gone deep in a relatively standard tournament. I think I've gotten 33rd in the last 3 main tournaments. So, if anything, that's a testament to how good everyone's getting. Definitely not how bad I'm getting. That can't be the case, right? Uh, but yeah, it was definitely fun. Like, you always want a close race. And yeah, now you're free. You don't have to maybe do 9 more races in the next week and a half. So,
I'm free to grind NMG now. That's been on my to-do list for forever. So, but yeah, good luck in the rest of the tournament, though.
oh, thank you.
It looks like, Andy, you'll be facing the loser of Rywek versus Vortex of Doom. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, anybody that's made it this far is not going to be an easy match. So, we gotta pray to the rando gods, I suppose. But yeah, they're both really good. I'll probably have to do a little research in the next day or so.
Well, once again, GG's to both of you. Good luck on the rest of the tournament, Andy, and good luck to you on what you do in the future, P-Train.
Appreciate it.
I think that is all. Feel free to follow the racers. Feel free to follow my tracker once again, one last time, Lady Laura Linda. Thank you for bearing with me tonight. Solo comms, first time doing that, so if I was a bit awkward, I apologize, but I appreciate you all sticking with me. Have a good night.